Today is Mother's Day, and I'm going to show you guys how I do barbecue. I'm actually doing 4 different kind of meats today. I'm doing beef 2 ways. I've got a beef brisket and also a beef shoulder that I'm going to be doing with a barbecue sauce that I'm going to make, and then lamb 2 ways. I've got a boneless leg of lamb and a rack of lamb that I'm going to do, and that's going to go with a chimichurri sauce. So 4 different kinds of meat, 2 different styles of each different kind, basically. I've got a chimney starter of charcoal going on outside, and while that comes up to heat, I'm going to make the rub for the beef that I'm going to be doing. And it's going to be really simple. It's just going to be peppercorns and salt. I'm going to grind them up here with my mortar and pestle because it's better if it's fresh ground. Alright, now that I got my beef rub made, I'm going to go ahead and get these rubbed down. Got my beef brisket here. It's actually a pretty small brisket, but I'm only serving probably 6 to 7 people tonight, so I don't really need a big brisket. I normally work with larger cuts, but this is about 3 pounds. This will do just fine for me today. And I've got another 4-pound beef shoulder that's going to back that up. The beef brisket's going to go on the smoker first because it's got a lot of fat that's going to render out. It's going to take a little bit long cooker time, even though it is a smaller piece of meat. So I'm going to trim a little bit of the top of this off here. I don't want all the fat on here, but I do want a good fat cap on here to kind of flavor the meat as it cooks. So I'm going to take a little bit of it off, but I'm going to leave most of it on here. Alright, I got my brisket, I got my shoulder trimmed where I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and get these rubbed down. I use yellow mustard to apply my rubs. The mustard burns off, so you don't have to worry about imparting any flavor or anything like that. Some people use olive oil, some people don't do anything at all, but I use mustard. I like it. I think it makes the rub stick to the meat pretty good. So let's give it a nice liberal rub down with the mustard all over it. And then, like I said, for beef, I go pretty simple. I just go salt and pepper for my rub. Some people can use some paprika or something like that to do it. I would just try to stay away from at least sugars because these things are going to be cooking for a pretty long time and you don't want sugar to burn. I'm going to go pretty liberal with the amount of seasoning that I'm going to put on these things. So I'm just going to pour it on and then make sure I pat it in really nice. After I'm done, these guys are going to hang out in the fridge for a little while and kind of marinate in this rub. It'll probably turn into a bit of a paste basically. Got a chimney starter full of charcoal out there, getting my smoker up and ready to go. So once I get these rubbed down, I'll go out and get the smoker all fired up. As it's coming up to temp, I'll let these kind of hang out and marinate. It'll take about an hour for the smoker to come up to temp to where I want it to be. Alright, my charcoal that's in my chimney starter is about right where I want it to be. I use a Weber Smoky Mountain 22-inch, I believe, smoker for mine. So anyways, I'm going to get these coals going. I got about a full bag of charcoal and a little charcoal ring in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it, as best I can do, directly in the center. There. And that's going to slowly start to basically get the rest of it going and it'll hold my temp. Alright, I've already got 1 pitcher of water in here, but I'm going to add about 2 more pitchers of water to the water pan. I like to start off with cold water. It helps regulate the heat of the smoker a little bit better, at least in my opinion. But eventually, once that starts to heat up, it'll start steaming and it'll actually steam the meat as it's cooking and kind of help keep everything moist during the cooking process. Alright, I got 3 pitchers of water in the pan. Let's go to the top grate back on. Put the lid on there. Oop, almost forgot. Thermometer. So I got the thermometer in there. I've got all my vents open. Let this thing come up. Aiming for about 225 to 240 degrees today. Well, smoker's coming up to temp. I'm going to be making the sauce that I'm going to use for the lamb. I'm doing a chimichurri. Chimichurri is a sauce that I've made so many times. I don't really use a recipe or anything like that. I just kind of do it by feel, taste, and you know how it's kind of working out for me. But basically, the ingredients that I'm going to be using is parsley, red wine vinegar, olive oil, sea salt, crushed red pepper, garlic, and oregano. You can de-stem the parsley if you want. I really don't care, so I just kind of go for it. Just make sure you're using the freshest ingredients that you possibly can, so it's going to have a really bright flavor profile to it. So I'm personally just going to get as much parsley as I can get out of this. I'll try to avoid the stem as much as I possibly can, but I'm not too stressed about it. This is going to be the marinade for the leg of lamb, and it's also going to be sort of the basting sauce for the rack of lamb as well. And also be served on the side, so people can add more if they want. Okay, I would say I got about, 2 cups of parsley out of this. To that, I'm going to add my oregano. I've got 5 cloves of garlic I'm going to toss in there. Let's go with about a tablespoon of salt. I'm going to go with roughly a tablespoon of crushed red pepper because, as you guys know, I like it pretty spicy. And then some red wine vinegar. I'm going to say about, just under a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar goes in there. And then the main ingredient, or the main liquid ingredient here, is going to be olive oil. I'm going to go just over a 1/4 cup, maybe even closer to a 1/2 cup. So I'll start off a little bit small, get this thing blending, and then I can always add more olive oil. That's actually really good. It's spicy. I like it. See how the smoker's doing. We are at 250 degrees. Right where I want it to be. Time to get the brisket on. Apple. All right, next I got this beautiful leg of lamb. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the chimichurri and I'm just gonna get it kind of all over this amazing looking leg of lamb. And then I'm gonna put this in a little Ziploc baggie, and this is just gonna marinate in the fridge for a few hours. This is deboned, so the bone was right in here. And I'm just gonna get this chimichurri all up in. Now it's time to make the barbecue sauce that I'm going to be doing for the brisket and for the beef shoulder. This one is slightly more complicated. It's got a little bit more ingredients, but it's still pretty easy. For this, I'm going to do some bell peppers. I got a red jalapeno that I grew in my garden. I got some onion. For the sugar content, I'm actually going to use, it's pretty cool. It's a maple syrup that was aged in Pappy Van Winkle barrels, so this should give a sort of bourbony, smoky flavor to it. For more sugar content, I'm going to use Ale 8 that I'm going to put in there. I get this down in Slate, Kentucky on my camping trips. This is the good stuff. Some regular old store-bought ketchup, apple cider vinegar, apple juice, and some black pepper. I'm just loosely chopping a lot of these ingredients because we are going to be blending this barbecue sauce later, so nothing needs to be perfect. Alright, green bell pepper in. So at this point we got red bell pepper and green bell pepper in the pot. Do the jalapeno and the onion, and then we add the wet ingredients and get this sauteing. Red jalapeno, seeds and all in the pot. Spicy. Got about half this onion roughly chopped. Get this guy in the pot. Alright, I'm gonna ever so slightly measure out a few of the wet ingredients. Oh, I broke the top of this. That's not the best thing that's ever happened to me. We'll make it happen. Success. Little sugar buildup. I'm gonna do about a 1/4 cup of this stuff because it's expensive. So I'm gonna measure it out. Get the Adelaide, the good stuff, the real stuff from Slade. Oh, let's say 3/4 of a cup. Get that going in there. All right, the vegetables have pretty much softened up, so I'm gonna start adding the other ingredients. Start with the apple cider vinegar. Oh, about a 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar, I'm gonna say. I want to balance. This is gonna be kind of tangy, kind of sweet. I'm gonna have to, I feel like at the end, if I'm gonna have to add anything more, it's gonna have to be more of that maple syrup to bring the sugar content up, but I don't like a lot of sugar. I'm gonna go with just a little bit of this apple juice, maybe, I don't know, a couple tablespoons maybe. Go with all the rest of the ketchup. This is just what I had laying around in the house. And a little bit of black pepper. So I'm just gonna simmer this until it thickens. And then we're going to puree, and then we're pretty much it. Taste, season from there. let's see how this guy tastes. Tastes peppery, vinegary, a little bit of sweetness. I'm in. All right, but it definitely does need some seasoning, salt and pepper. All right, the brisket's been on the smoker for about an hour and 15 minutes. Let's just see how we're doing temp-wise. We're sitting at about 230 degrees. Definitely okay with that. All right, the brisket's been on for about 3 hours now. It's up to about 100 degrees. We're about halfway there on that. And the beef shoulder. And I'm gonna give the brisket a little spritz so it stays moist. I'm just using apple juice here. All right, continue. All right, bonus bread. I wasn't planning on filming this because I don't really consider myself the greatest baker in the entire world, but I'm also making bread today. I'm gonna be baking this simple white bread. Just plop that right in the middle. Score that a little bit. Sprinkle a little bit of water. If you're seeing this means the bread worked out. Bread turned out fantastic. Pretty hyped on this. Let's get this lamb on. Lamb's been on for about an hour. Let's just see where we're at with the brisket. Man, still needs some more time. About 190. All right, the lamb is done. I want to get to about 130, so I'm gonna go into the cooler. It's been about 30 minutes since the lamb came off, and the brisket is now ready. Waiting for it to hit that magical 203. It's actually a little bit more, 206, but that's all right. So this is going to get wrapped in tin foil, and it's going to go into a cooler to hold while the shoulder finishes, which should be, I'd say another 30 minutes or so. Toss the rack of lamb on here. Doing some bonus chicken wings. Chimichurri that I made earlier. Just gonna spread that. Just flip the rack of lamb for the first time. Get this chimichurri going on the other side. Don't get enough good crust on it. Oh my god, this looks good. Alright, so the lamb just hit 130 on the dot. So I'm going to pick that off the grill. Bring this inside the house to rest. I don't need to put this on the cooler because this thing is just going to be resting. It's pretty much ready to go. Chicken wings are right behind it.
All cheese.
I think I'm tradition. I personally probably do more. Right of mine is just non-stop going right out of nowhere. Yeah, kind of had one.
This is lamb.
Very meaty.
I'm gonna have some lamb.
What do you eat? Really? They get the
Well, lamb between each bone here and this one.
oh my god. Yeah, I think so. Oh, I think there I am.
You got them all.
Carolyn just sent me these pictures. That's me. Look at Barbara. Does she not look like her grandkids? Yeah, she does.
So there's a little bit of olive oil over the whole thing.
Here we are again. So that was I'm holding the baby. Where was the baby one? I was holding Josh. It looks like you would be a little face with me.
A little bit of chimichurri.
Yeah, Nancy sent me a picture.
Did she?
It's like they're still
And for the brisket, some of that barbecue sauce that I made earlier today.
Yeah. They don't do a lot.
Here I am holding Scott.
That's how I do it.
Oh, okay.
You can do it however you want. Alright, to go over it all, this is the bread that I made. We got the brisket, we got the lamb, leg of lamb, we got the rack of lamb, we've got the beef shoulder, we've got the chicken wings, things you didn't even see that I made. We've got mushrooms, we have a zucchini pesto pasta that I made. Here's that chimichurri, and here's the barbecue sauce. Get it. Got a little crazy there at the end, but I made it happen. I hope you guys enjoyed me on this trip for the day, and I appreciate your likes, your comments, and if you want to see more, cooking, spicy, sour things that I do, just hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Boom.
Hey, this is Brian Ames. Please click the subscribe button that you see right there, and you'll subscribe to my videos. From now on, I'm going to be eating a lot of peppers. It's going to, oh man, it's going to be great. Bye.